Sure. So, it was 2013. I've been living here in Kansas City for about 2 years, and my life at that time consisted of a lot of watching TV, a lot of reading books, especially Star Wars. I kind of love Star Wars. And then also spending time with friends, watching Kansas State football games, basketball games, the occasional Missouri Mavericks games, and even Kansas City Royals. As you could tell, my life was maybe kind of dull, maybe not. But during this time, I was actually beginning to wonder what it would be like to have somebody else in my life to spend time with. And I was really wanting to start exploring that. Well, the way that I decided to go about that was to enlist the services of a website called eHarmony. This is a website, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's an online dating website. So it helps you find new people to meet and to start conversations. Well, the way that eHarmony does this is they actually have you take a personality test at the beginning when you sign up, and then they use that test to match you with all sorts of different people based off of the things that you're interested in, personality traits. So the idea is that you can get a better match by matching you with people that have some similar traits and similar interests. So one day I'm looking through the list of matches that they give me, and I see a profile for somebody named Katie. I'm immediately intrigued, and I click on her profile and start looking through, and I'm seeing a lot of things I like. She loves to run, something I like to do. She's a really big theater buff, which was something that I wasn't necessarily interested in, but I wanted to explore that and see if there was something fun there. And then a few months after we started actually dating, I figured out that she was a big Disney buff, so that's another big win right there. But the way that, as I'm reading through her profile, I decided I want to send a message to her and see if she'll respond back. And the way that eHarmony does that actually is they have you, they started off easy, and they have you send a list of 3 multiple choice questions. I sent those to Katie. She responded back with answers to those questions, and then sent me 3 questions of her own. So we went through that. The next level was to go through some short answer questions, and then move on to long answer questions, and then into just sort of a free message system that they have so that you could facilitate conversation. But we progressed through those pretty quickly, and after a couple of weeks of exchanging messages, we realized, okay, we want to meet. So we got phone numbers and set up our first date. That particular date was to get coffee one evening after work. It was a little bit later in the night because I didn't want it to be dinner, and I didn't want it to be so late that we'd be up all night on caffeine high. So we went to the Rest Street coffee shop and just had an hour or so to talk. Well, I get to the coffee shop, and of course I'm a little bit on the nervous side. I mean, it's first time meeting somebody, even though we've been talking for weeks. So I sit down at the very front of the coffee shop. I'm right by the windows for this particular coffee shop, and my thought was, well, she'll see me immediately when she comes in, and she won't have to look around. Well, she, as I sit down, I glance out the window, and I realize that there's a rabbit on the concrete outside the building. For whatever reason, this blows my mind. I am completely stumped and totally confused as to why there would be a rabbit in the middle of a giant concrete shopping mall. Of course, Katie chose this moment to come walking in. And she walks up and says hello, and I respond with, "Hi, did you see the rabbit?" Maybe not the best first impression. But she took it in stride, and we ended up spending an hour just talking, laughing, getting to know each other better. We actually got kicked out of the coffee shop because it closed sooner than what I had expected, and our conversation was nowhere near being done. So we actually, very quickly after that, set up a second date. That particular date was to go to a restaurant in Parade Village called BRGR. For those of you who don't know what BRGR is, it stands for Burger, and it's a really good hamburger restaurant. When we get there, we spend 2 or 3 hours just talking, eating, just having a great time. And it was a very successful first date. Katie didn't tell me when I set up the date, but I found this out several months later. She actually doesn't like beef, so my choice of restaurants was probably not the best. But anyways, we very quickly started spending more and more time together. Fast forward 5 years. We've now been married for 2.5 years. We've had a lot of adventures during that time. We've traveled, we've seen the joys of new jobs and job loss, and we've even embarked on the great adventure of home ownership and fixing the home when things unexpectedly break. And we're actually now preparing to embark on our next big great adventure, and that's the adventure of parenthood. Because our first child is due in August. So I'm actually really excited about this. We both are. One of the things that I'm especially excited about is being able to introduce our new child to some of the things that we enjoy doing. So musical theater, that's going to be in the mix. Disney, of course, is going to be in the mix. And I'm especially excited to introduce our new son or our new daughter to Star Wars. Thank you.